What's going on, guys? Alex back with another video. And today we have a special guest here, Kieran Warwick. And I know you have a couple of brothers that are all in cryptocurrency. We're going to ask about them a little bit, but why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm one of the co-founders of Illuvium. My journey in crypto started back around 2015. With one of those brothers, Kane, I started an over-the-counter cryptocurrency exchange, basically where people could walk into a bricks and mortar retail store, hand over an amount of cash, and in exchange for that, receive Bitcoin. That sort of opened my eyes to the entire space. I started investing pretty heavily. I ended up leaving the space briefly for a couple of years to found a food tech startup. From there, I saw Kane's protocol Synthetics start really taking off, and the entire DeFi space start taking off. And so it got my attention again. And I started looking into a bunch of different protocols, started doing a ton of investing again, made a bunch of money. And then I stumbled across NFTs, and I've been a gamer all my life. And I just thought this new technology and this ability to have verifiable ownership inside of games is just going to change the way that people build games, play games, and you know, now we're here 12 months on, and we're just trying to build something super cool in the ecosystem.
That's good. It's good. So, I mean, obviously, with the creation of NFTs or not the creation, because it's been out for a long time, but kind of like the new wave of people that started adopting it. These in-game assets are like a big thing. And I think it's really important because you have like the play to earn, and you have like the metaverses that, people can kind of live in and work in, and things like this. And it opened up a whole new world of opportunity. So where do you see like a massive hype cycle, maybe in the near future happening for games, or you think it's going to be kind of like a prolonged thing, maybe to happen in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think there'll be a few different cycles. The first one we'll see is a mad rush. And we see this across every sector in crypto, right? Whatever's hot at the time, everyone wants to jump in because of the open source nature of the blockchain. It's very easy to recreate a protocol or a system, or in our case, a game. And so I'm expecting Axie Infinity is largely the most popular game right now that's in the play to earn sector. I'm expecting many games that are very similar to that, sort of basic role-playing games that connect play to earn features. And for that reason, I'm expecting over the next, I would say 12 to 24 months, we're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of these games launch and try and grab their slice of the play to earn pie. In the long term, I see a new cycle starting where the games that have been that started building 12 months ago, that are looking to be much higher quality than the indie style games that are available now. Once they start to come out, we'll see a maturing of the space. And that's when I think we'll start to get heavy mainstream adoption from people coming across, simply because the quality of game that is available is something that is going to be fun and entertaining, and give them a reason to go, well, I'm going to stop playing Fortnite or WoW, and I am going to jump across to this game because it looks fun,
Yeah, so you're kind of like I guess original, like the foundational adoption method is you just want the game to actually be fun, right? You want the game
100%.
Yeah, that's
it's
really cool, because you see DeFi and they're kind of like inflating their assets and like printing them out of oblivion, but you're actually trying to get people to use the protocol. So why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, you can create a zero-sum game where the more people that join the ecosystem, as long as they're bringing money into it, then you're not going to have a situation as long as people keep on entering the system, at the same rate that they're leaving, then you're going to have a stable economy. Where that sort of breaks down is when you stop having people enter the system and there's no value creation from within. And so the reason that you see a game like Fortnite be so popular and be able to generate so much revenue is because they base their model on skins, right? Which means the players are happy to go in and purchase these characters and then dress them up and spend external capital and allow that to flow into the system. And obviously in the case of a Fortnite, that goes to a centralized entity. In the case of Illuvium, our game, all of these in-game revenue generators like skins, enhancements, fusing, all that kind of stuff, instead of it going back to a centralized entity, it goes into a vault, and then that vault distributes the revenue back to the people who are staked in the protocol proportionately. And so yeah, it's the distinction that we're making is we want to make a very fun game that people want to spend money in, not just to earn more money.
That's really interesting. That's actually one of the reasons I originally invested into you guys a couple months ago. And just to be clear, guys, you know, my audience knows I don't accept sponsorships. He didn't pay me at all. This is like completely open, organic. I reached out to him to see if we could get on the interview here. So just to be transparent, he has not paid me to talk about it. But you know, that was one of the things that originally attracted me to you guys. That you guys are giving all the revenue back. So why don't you elaborate a little bit on that and the staking?
Yeah, so we thought let's do something a little bit novel and you know, weird and wonderful, and that's what crypto is all about, pushing the boundaries and essentially making it as decentralized as possible, and that includes the revenues and profits. And so the way that works is there's a vault, and as I just mentioned, all of that in-game revenue, and not just in-game revenue, in the case of the land sale that we have coming up, the avatar sale that we have coming up.
Wow.
All of those revenues go inside the Illuvium Vault, and the vault has a smart contract that essentially purchases periodically ILV back from the market using all of the in-game revenue, and in our case that currency is ETH. And so the contract purchases the ILV. You'll see an increase in the, you know, depending on how much the buy is that week, whatever the revenues are, you'll see an increase in the price of ILV because we're doing that market buy. And then proportionately, we send that back, we distribute that back to anyone who is staked in the protocol. And so that's where you get 100% of these revenues are going back to the players and the people who are staked, right? And the idea behind that is, it might seem crazy that, you know, we're giving all the revenues back, but it changes the psychology and the mentality of people, and it makes them more comfortable with spending more, staking more, locking more, because they know that this is very much a community decentralized project where there isn't some corporate entity that is making, you know, shitloads of money off it, and it is going back to the people.
That's amazing, man. There's not a lot of projects out there like that, just to be clear. So the fully decentralized nature is one of the biggest reasons why, you know, I originally, you know, invested into it, made some videos about it. So another reason was because of the graphics, and obviously you don't have to get super specific. But what do you plan on doing there? You guys, it's like super realistic. So why don't you give me your vision on that?
Yeah, so that's basically the vision of our art director, also my brother Grant, and so we recently revealed who that was. He was previously Von Neumann. So if you've heard of that name, Von Neumann, it's actually Grant. And his background has been in CGI for the last 20 years. And he shares the same competitive nature that pretty much every Warwick does. And with that, you know, he basically said, I want to make, you know, I've never been in video games before, but, you know, he's been at the top level of print. You know, he used to do tutorials on hard surface modeling, on lighting, on environments. And so like this guy is top level in the field of CGI. He's just never done games before. And so when he came into when we started this and he started looking at it, he was like, I want to make the best graphics ever in a game. Like that was his baseline. And you know, that's a pretty scary thought when you think about what needs to go into that, like making the best graphics ever. But he's gone and recruited a team of experts out there that were working for AAA studios. And so all the way through that's one part of the DAO where I would say there is no one that can go even close to touching us, is our art team, right? From all the way from concepting through to texturing and animating and everything in between. We've literally gone and got some of the best people in the world to join this pipeline, and the product, it speaks for itself, right? Like the trailer that we put out, we're literally showing in-game graphics, and you've got YouTubers out there who cover mainstream games all the time. Like it's not like they're stupid and they don't know what they're talking about. They're just in disbelief that could actually come out of Unreal Engine 4 because the graphics are so high quality. And I don't know what to tell people when I say, like, I'm in disbelief, but I'm looking at the engine and I know it's real. And so all of that stems, you know, down from Grant just being relentless on saying, you know, whatever it takes, we want the best graphics ever. That's it.
That's super interesting, because like me as an investor, I mean, it makes me feel confident about investing in NFTs or whatever the case is, any in-game item that you guys have to offer, because you know you put in the work to make it the highest quality. So I have a specific question. What's up with you guys and the brothers, man? Do you have another one at Synthetics, right? What's up?
Yes.
Can I be a Warwick brother or something like?
Yeah, look, I don't know. We like, we're all very similar. We're very, very different. We all have very different ideas of, and I guess a thesis of how the world should work and whatever. But one thing that we all possess is a competitive nature. Like growing up with a professional tennis player of a dad, there wasn't really any room for being second best. Now, when you got four brothers, someone has to come last, someone has to come third last, someone has to come second last, and only one can come first. Yeah. And so it's bred into us this nature of, and when you sort of this competitive nature, but when you separate that out and one guy's aiming to create the best graphics on earth, one guy's aiming to create the best gameplay and game design and backstory on earth, and the other guy is trying to build, you know, the largest market cap studio in the world in the fastest time ever. If you've got three guys that are laser focused on their exact skill set and we're all doing it simultaneously, that coupled with the fact that we've been able to like bleed that through the entire organization, and now we've got a team of people that think very similarly to what the way we do, where it's like, whatever we're producing, it needs to be the best. You bring that out and you flesh that out to 170 people in this DAO. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing, right? We are relentless on the product that we will deliver. And yeah, I don't know to go back to like, is it a Warwick thing? I don't know, but it's something, and it kind of works. So who won the tennis matches? Like who's the number one brother? Well, that's yeah, that's an interesting one. I actually put out a tweet the other day. I was talking to Aaron. So Aaron and I were the ones that basically played from like 4 years old all the way through to 16. Is when I stopped. I think I got up to like 700 in the world in juniors. I think Aaron was more, he missed the junior circuit because he left tennis and then he came back. But I would have to say that Aaron definitely was the most skilled. I was a little bit of a loose cannon, which probably makes sense to a lot of people that are listening. But yeah, we played quite well, and I was joking around with Aaron the other day, and I said, we were talking about just random scenarios of like what it would take to beat someone like a Federer, and I said, and Aaron was like, mate, I would beat Federer if he was playing with a skillet and I had a regular racket. And I was like, you know what? Like, I actually still back Federer on that. And obviously I'm joking. I know, like, the guy's a highly skilled tennis player. The guy's got a fucking frying pan. He's not going to beat him, but it's just funny, and just shows how competitive we are. We go down a rabbit hole, and it's like, no, you can't beat Federer with a skillet. So yeah, we're always scheming, and it's always fun.
That's really cool, man. And the competitive nature, definitely, it looks like you guys worked hard on your game. So speaking of timelines, you guys have some private betas coming out and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had one private beta, and then you have another one coming out too, right?
Yeah. So the private beta 1, Aaron is trying to crazily get it out before Christmas, and he's talking about like super near dates, and which is kind of freaking me out a bit. But if he's saying it, then it's we can be more sure of that than anyone else, especially me saying a date. But yeah, we're meant to be getting that first private beta out this side of the year. So hopefully in December. I wouldn't hold your breath on that. And it is a private beta, so it's not even like, there might be 200 to 500 spots or whatever that are available. So it's not like it's going to affect a whole bunch of people if that is delayed. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be December, but that's what he's gunning for.
How do you get access to a private beta? Is it like a submission, or how does that work?
There is a range of things. So there's an application process that you'll need to go through, and there's some different types of people that we're looking for in terms of the skill set that you bring. Are you a crypto gamer? Are you a mainstream gamer? Have you ever played the auto battler genre? How large is your community? In the case of a YouTuber like yourself, a lot of different factors, and we need a lot of diversity as well in terms of who is playing in that beta, because it's all about the feedback that we get back from it.
Okay, cool. So how many views this video got to get for me to get I'm just joking. I'll submit a application like everybody else. So I did want to ask something else. So you have like the private hopefully coming out before December. If you were to guess, do you have maybe like a public date? Probably not a date, but maybe a estimation. I know your roadmap says Q1 2022.
I'm thinking it'll be March. I'm thinking it'll be somewhere around mid-March, and yeah, that's the first time that the public will get their hands on playing Illuvium. Again, it's an open beta, so we plan on releasing enough that it's super enjoyable, super fun. You can play the overworld, you can play the auto battler. It's all encompassing, but we will look to continue to build that out, add additional biomes, and as we go through 2022.
And I noticed from some of your interviews, and as well as some things I was reading, you guys are gonna, am I wrong, you're launching mobile first, right? You're going the mobile route, or did that change?
I know desktop first.
Oh, you're going desktop first. Okay, so you're gonna kind of okay, that's really cool. Do you plan on making like a mobile gaming experience?
Yeah, so it's one thing that it was actually the opposite of that. We because we're going after games like and gamers that play games like World of Warcraft and League of Legends, we're really going for these AAA games. To power the high quality graphics, you need a decent graphics card, right? Which comes with the need of some hardware, either in the form of a notebook or a desktop. And then this play to earn movement, because we've been at this the idea started something like 18 months ago now, and so play to earn had not taken off, and definitely not to the scale that it's at now. And so appealing to developing nations wasn't really on our radar. Obviously we weren't purposely trying to not be, but it just wasn't a thing, right? We were targeting those 2.8 billion gamers out there. Then play to earn started blowing up, and we basically said we can't deny this anymore. And so we're now in the middle of setting up a capital raise, which will allow us to expand the team, particularly in mobile. And so we're looking to onboard around 100 developers that are mobile developers that are working in parallel with the Illuvium desktop developers, and we're trying to bring forward that release as best as we can, so we can start servicing the people that want to play the game that only have their mobile.
Yeah, and speaking on the subject too, I did want to ask you, so like, how does the play to earn model work out for the game? There's a free tier, I'm assuming, and then you can grind your way up, or you can pay for it, right?
Yeah, so I do talk about this a little bit, and I don't know how long the free to earn is going to last, but there will be a period where you can literally start playing our game for free, and there are going to be people out there that will buy those assets, those free assets that you collect and level up. There will be a period where people go, I don't want to go through the tier 0 region and grind and level my way up, but I will just wait until someone else does that. They are looking to sell them on the Illuvidex, which is our marketplace, and then I'm just going to buy a good team, right? So there is the opportunity to go through that route. You can also just spend money to start off with and start traveling to the higher tiered regions. As long as you have, decent alluvials that are leveled up, you can start collecting the, tier 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. But in terms of actually what functions are play to earn, it's a little bit different in our game, in the sense of one of the routes for you to play to earn is to simply jump into the game, pay your travel fee, go and mine a bunch of shards, cure those shards. So you've spent a little bit of money on travel, you spent a little bit of money on curing a shard, you then stumble across thylacine, you end up encountering that, you battle it, you beat it, and then you use one of those shards to capture it. You then can take that asset and literally sell it on the Illuvidex, again, the marketplace, and you made whatever the delta between the travel fee and the shard curing cost and the sell price of your thylacine is going to be what you earn, right? And that, I think, is going to be the main way. But there's play to earn littered across the entire game. There's also $1.4 billion in in-game yield that you can earn as well. You can do that simply by playing the survival mode, which is just you versus the NPCs. There's, the Leviathan arena, where you can go in and I can set up a battle and say, hey, at the end of this interview, Alex, you and I were going into the arena. I'll put down 1 ETH, winner takes all. And if you beat me in that battle, then you're taking my ETH, right? And so that's a way to earn. So we've tried to not limit it. And this is, I think, one of the things that people don't realize, like there's so many ways to earn, and there's so many ways for the game to earn as well, which in a normal sense, you'd think, oh shit, like the game's making lots of money, that's going to the publisher, that's a bad thing. But again, in our case, if the game has lots of mechanisms to generate revenue and that's being distributed back to the people who are playing the game, you get this really awesome feedback loop where it's like, well, I'm just going to keep on spending more and more and more, and you keep on creating value within the system.
That's super interesting. I love it. So it seems like you're aiming for the masses. You have really good graphics. You guys are being relentless in the graphics area. It seems like you're attacking like the big, like you want the game to work as a game, not really something where someone could play and make money. But you have that option, play to earn. So I have a question, scalability, right? So I heard you guys are integrating with Immutable X, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I want like, if are you using Stark X, or are you guys going to be integrating into Stark Net when they come out? Because I know they're coming out very soon. And I don't know, maybe I'm diving a little bit too deep, but I think that would be interesting information for the audience.
Yeah, I don't think we've made a decision on where there's actually 3 networks that it's surprising that you actually know this, but there's 3 networks that they're basically going to or instances that they're going to create. We haven't chosen which one yet, so I'll leave it at that. And it's probably a question for my CTO. I know, and like we literally had this meeting about a week ago where we're deciding what are we actually going to do here, and there's a whole bunch of stuff up in the air, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. We haven't chosen which one yet.
Yeah, just to give the viewers some kind of like background. Basically, they have like a tech. It's called Immutable X, right? And a lot of protocols have been using it to help scale NFTs. And they're dropping a net, supposedly Q4 2021. And there's a lot of projects that are using it right now. And the big question is, are the projects that have kind of like the Stark X, are they going to integrate into the net? Because the net's coming out soon, and the net's going to have advantages like probably liquidity, infrastructure, and things like this. So it is a big question for pretty much every project. And that's why I just want to see, kind of pick your brain a little bit. Maybe we can ask more about it into the future, maybe Q1 of 2022 or something like that. But yeah, it's cool. It seems like you guys are thinking about scalability. You're thinking about kind of the longevity of the project and stuff like that. But yeah, so tell me about your background knowledge, man. It seems like you're kind of like a serial entrepreneur. Your brothers are obviously aggressive and stuff like that. So did you like learn something from Blue Shift, or did you learn something from your brother from synthetics? Like what made you like spring into action, and specifically the gaming industry?
I just knew that. So, I mean, I look at the world, right? And it doesn't matter what it is, right? This is sort of my mindset, and this is just the way that my brain works. If there is an inefficiency in something, I look at it, and if I give a shit enough, or if there's enough care factor, then I go, well, so like someone needs, or is someone, but my first position is someone looking into how to optimize this and fix this problem, right? Back 8 years ago or whatever, or even longer now, I think like 12 years ago or something, I was standing on the street and I was late for work, and I was literally sitting there and I was watching taxis drive by, right? And in Australia, we don't have an abundance of taxis like a New York or San Fran or whatever like that, right? And so when you're sitting there and you're like, I need to get to work, and these taxis are driving by, and they have a light on the top that says if they're taken or if they're available. Now, the ones that were driving past, not seeing my waving hand, were the ones that were available. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm money to you, and you just are driving right on past. This is a bad situation for you and for me. And so I messaged Darren, and this is one of the things that I want to kill him about, but I messaged him, and this is right when he was starting to learn how to code apps and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, could we make an app where basically you turn on a beacon to say, I want to be picked up buy these taxis, right? Like whatever I don't know how it would work, but somehow we need to let them know that I'm on this corner and I want to be picked up. And he was like, oh man, it's too big of an interest. Like, I just don't see that happening. I don't know if it would work, whatever. And then 2 years later, Uber comes out, and obviously it's not the same thing. And there's way like many other things that you need to think about. But that's sort of the way that my brain works. And so I looked at that and I just thought, this is so inefficient. And same thing with gaming. The fact that people will pour thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into games that they love and they're addicted to, and then literally just leave it on the table. It's like nothing else in the world, right? It's because it's this digital thing, people accept it. But imagine going and buying a whole bunch of real world assets. It's like buying a whole bunch of furniture and then just going, well, I'm just going to leave it here because I'm moving house. And it's like, well, can you sell those things? Can you do anything? No. And people just accepted it. That's a stupid situation for me. I don't understand that, especially when there's a market on both sides where other people coming into the game who are new players want to buy my assets, right? And so when I saw NFTs, when I got back in and I started investing and I saw the power of what an NFT could do, particularly for games, I was like, I'm all in. I have to be all in on this. And then I started diving into like, why haven't mainstream gamers, like this is obviously something that we've all been wanting for years and years and years, decades. Why hasn't this caught on in crypto? And there's two reasons. There's the Ethereum scaling issues. There just simply wasn't the ability to create a seamless experience to game. There's so many on-chain interactions. You'd be paying gas fees out at, through the roof. And so often that it's a suboptimal experience, you're not playing. So that's the first. But the second is that the games were shit, and they have been shit for so long. And mainstream gamers who are playing World of Warcraft aren't going to come across and start playing 2D games again that, were back in the Flash days of, very, very early on gaming. And so I thought, let's do both. And so we started researching it. Layer 2s just came out, and Kane was talking about optimism and how that was going to, assist them with their staking protocol. And so I thought, okay, well, if that problem's solved, and if we know it's possible to create a AAA game, it's just you got to find the team to do it. If we can do those two things, let's just do it. And here we are. And that's kind of how it all happened.
I love it, man. I love the vision. I love the drive. I love like the ambition too of just trying to go for it all. I think a lot of people settle for less, and it doesn't look like you guys settle for anything. So that's all really good. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty much out of questions. Do you have any extra gems you want to drop on my audience? Maybe because remember, like they're investors. I got a whole YouTube investor, got a whole group of investors. So, what would be, I guess you could say, the one thing why they should buy your coin? Well,
I would say
it's not your coin, but
it's definitely the token that I'm most invested in. Why would you do that? I would say because if a couple of reasons, right? Fundamentals. If you look at what are we building compared to what is the number one game in the market building, if you look at the gameplay, the backstory, the lore, if you look at our team, there's no team in GameFi that's anywhere near the size that we are, let alone the expertise. If you look at what we've delivered in the time frame that we've done it, the gameplay that's out there now, do a comparison with the number one GameFi project and do a comparison of where we're at now and put 2 and 2 together. That's what I would say in terms of why to buy our token, right? And obviously, there's a bunch of other benefits like the staking and revenue distributions, but the probably the closest opportunity for your listeners is the land sale, right? Like that is coming out very, very soon. It's you know, in the next month or so, you're going to be able to buy these parcels of land. There, again, this is what I look at, the technical analysis of it, right? Not so much, and obviously the community and all of the other things matter, but when you're just purely looking at the fact that we're about to sell only 20,000 plots of land, there'll be 100,000 in total, but 20,000 for now. We have something like 1.1 million people registered for Illuvium.
Wow.
So, you know, what do you think is going to happen to that? And that's now. And if we can achieve our goal of getting 100 million players into Illuvium, and there's only ever 100,000 plots of land, and these things are generating revenue that is used by the main game. So there's not just a no use case for this land. There's literally, it's a passive income on top of the fact that there's speculative income in that, just purely based on the rarity of the land and the amount of players that will be entering the ecosystem. Again, I'm not going to give financial advice, but you got to put 2 and 2 together there of what do you think is going to happen. And yeah, so I would say to your listeners, yeah, don't sleep on our land sale. That's going to be a huge event. As I said, the revenues of that land sale go back. If you buy the token as well, you're going to get a piece of that revenue as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty cool way to look at things.
Yeah, and also you guys have, of course, like the mainnet. Like when it comes out, I'm sure it's going to pump. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of excitement around it, and a lot of projects the mainnet has already, you know, come out. So especially a bigger one. So as long as you guys can pull it off, Q1, you said March. You know, I think it would be really good. I think the land sale is going to be a very interesting situation. I want to see how that comes out. I'll probably buy some land myself. I missed out on all the other ones, man. I go buy a sandbox like 15K land. Maybe I can get some on Illuvium here. So the limited supply is a good thing too. I'm very interested in this project. But yeah, any final thoughts or anything like that you want to part with?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me on. I know you've got a massive channel and you've got very dedicated listeners. So I really appreciate you inviting me on.
No problem, man. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism, subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this. Catch you guys in the next video.